So, good morning, friends. We are going to see approach to study the language. So, first of all, this approach to study a language, two approaches were given by a Swiss linguist, Ferdinand de Saussure, in his work Course in General Linguistics, which he published in 1916. In this, he gave the two concepts: synchronic approach to study a language, and second was diachronic approach to study a language. Now, in a simple terms, what is synchronic approach? So, synchronic approach study the language at a particular time at a particular time or a particular phase, you can say. For example, if you want to study the language of English, if you want to study the function and the feature of a language in old English, so that you have to go through the synchronic approach to study that language, because you are going to study the function and the feature of a language in old English at that particular period of a time. So that will be counted in a synchronic, that you have to follow the synchronic approach of a language. Now, if you will go for diachronic approach, what is diachronic approach? So in diachronic approach, friends, in diachronic approach, we study the language, the functions of a language, the feature of a language through period of a time. Period, or you can remember the word history. You study the history of a language through diachronic approach. So in a diachronic approach, we study the period or the history of a language. We study the functions, but we study how those functions and the features had been evolved from the period of a time. For example, if I take the English language, how this English language has evolved from old English, what were the features, and now in the modern English, what are its feature. So I am going to study the function, the feature from this old English to modern English. But in synchronic approach, I will only study the functions which were there in the English language in old English. So this is a basic thing about synchronic and diachronic approach of a language. Now, friends, uh, we can see in the words what it is written. It will be easy for you to understand and write in your examination. Synchronic approach: this consider language as a living entity existing as a state at a particular time. For that, what I was saying, in a particular time, at a particular phase, what are the functions and the feature of a language? We consider it as like a humans, like human have a features and the functions when they used to live in the ancient times. Same as the language, what were its feature, what were its functions, what were the functions of English language in the old English. So that we consider, that we study in synchronic approach. Now, synchronic study of a language makes a comparison of a language or a dialects. For example, a person living in this place, so they are speaking the same language. Now we are going to study the function, the features, the vocabulary, the morphology, the phonemes, the phonology they used to have in that particular time. So we used to compare the dialects and their functions of a same language in the same time at a specific area. Also studies the spoken difference of some language in a specified region during the same period. It analyzes and describes how language is actually used by a group of people in a speech community. Friends, there will be the people who will be using these languages. So the people using a particular language means a group of people using a particular language, we call that a speech community. Means a people using a common speech. For example, the person living in the Britain, they will be using English language, then we will call them English speech community. So it also analyze grammar, classification, the feature of a language. In a simple terms, feature and the functions of a language at a particular point of time or a particular phase of history, that we study in a synchronic approach. Study of a language in any given point of time, usually present or at any specific point of time in the past. And other simple terms, what analyzing the word order in old English. Now, what is the word order in the old English, that we study in synchronic approach? For example, friends, there used to be improper word order, means word order was not fixed. How you can understand it? For example, I take a sentence: I can do the work, I can do the work. This is the sentence I wrote. Now, can I do the work? I am changing the sentence arrangement. Can I do the work? Can I do the work? Now, the sentence arrangement means the words arrangement is this is the original one, but in this I have changed the word order. But this these two sentences are different in modern language. but they were not different in old English. Means these two sentences will give the same meaning. Can I do the work, or I can do the work, or can I do the work? These are the two different sentences giving the different meaning in the modern language, but they were giving the same meaning in the old English. So word order was not fixed in old English. So this we study in a synchronic approach. Now comes to the diachronic or comparative linguistics. Now friends, as the name itself suggests, comparative means we are going to study the language through the history. We are going to see how the language had its feature in the old English. Now what are the changes which came in the modern English, that we are going to study through diachronic linguistics. So what does diachronic approach gives? It is the development and the evolution of a language through history. It refers to the study how language changes over a period of time. This study traces the development of English language. For example, if you are taking English language, you can see how this English language has changed from old English period to the 20th century English, or you can say the modern English. The main concern of diachronic linguistics are describing and accounting for observed changes in phonology, morphology, vocabulary within families, and developing loss of change in sounds. Friends, in a simple terms, the kind of grammar, the kind of pronunciation, the kind of vocabulary that had been used in the old English, and now what are the changes in all these formats, pronunciation, vocabulary, and the grammar, we see through diachronic study. Means in old English there was a different concepts, and in the modern English how the things has changed, we study through diachronic study of a language. Also, it describes the history of speech community. For example, friends, speech community, they are the people using the particular language, and when we study that particular language, we see that how that particular speech community has also evolved, the history of words, how the words have also evolved by these speech communities, what kind of word, what kind of different words are now used by them, how the word order in the sentence change from the old English to the modern English. This is example. Means I'm giving the example that how the word order in the old English period, the word order was not fixed. Even if we change the words, the meaning was same. But in the modern English, if we change the arrangement of the words, the meaning will also change. So this was synchronic and diachronic approach to study a language. In the simple terms, again I'm saying synchronic approach. Synchronic approach, you will study the function, the feature of a language at a particular point of time, in a particular phase, or you can say particular point of time. Whereas in diachronic approach, what you do in diachronic approach, you study the function of a language through history. Means how the function, the features, how the words and vocabulary in the grammar change through the period of time. So this is the basic difference and the basic meaning of synchronic and diachronic study of a language. Friends, this was all about approach to study a language. You must remember these things. These are oftenly asked in your competitive exams, and nowadays the weightage is also increasing of the linguistics portion. So these are the most important topics which has been mentioned in your masters as well as in graduation. So you must prepare this, and this is all about, and thank you for listening.